Okay, hello. I am back here to finish off the Sorry, I made myself give myself an echo. I'm back. I'm here to finish off the Planeswalker's Guide to Tarkir Dragonstorm. Which with just the Jeskai. I think what I'll be doing is I'll just do one from this point on. I'll just do one faction uh per per reading just to keep things simple and hopefully not an hour long again. So the Jeskai, we act as one. Let me pull up the Scryfall. Just get ready because we're going to use that Scryfall. I wonder what the mechanic will be this time because prowess is like a deciduous mechanic, so I don't know if they're gonna get a new mechanic or they'll just have prowess in the set again. But the Jeskai are led by monk practitioners of the way who seek unity of thought and shared understanding of reality. Known for the precision, compass, and rigor, the Jeskai are staunch in their traditions and beliefs, considering it their duty to guide Tarkir to a better future. They are known for their discipline and meditation, rigorous martial arts training, and cunning manipulation. Found in the eastern mountains of the plain, they live within villages that surround their three monasteries, each specializing in a different philosophy of the way. So, previously in Tarkir, the Jeskai connected to the colors blue, red, and white, and I can only assume that each of the three monasteries are once again blue, red, and white. Let's see if there's any leak, like not leaks, spoilers. Again on again here. Okay. The Dragonstorm better be in that set. I don't even know. Oh, also, I've been thinking about. So last time I was talking about the color distribution of like, for example, the Abzan because they had 5 houses. So I was wondering if I was trying to figure out the color distribution, and I thought about it a bit. So this to me implies that there might be a focus on enemy colors because I remember in the original Tarkir, Marco Rosara said he wanted to do it on enemy colors, but the reason they went with allies was for gameplay purposes for drafting. So they went with because the idea was supposed to start with 3 colors and drop a color and the dragon stick over. So originally it was supposed to be enemy colors. So they originally they'd be centered on enemy colors, then they drop an ally color to show like the discord amongst the factions. But they decided to just keep center an ally colors and drop the enemy color because that was just easier for the sake of drafting and balancing. Um, so this to me makes me wonder if there was going to be more of an emphasis on enemy colors in this set. So like where the previous Tarkir factions may have been centered in 2 ally colors that and then had like a secondary enemy color. These might be centered in 2 enemy colors and then secondary in an ally color. So I was talking about there's like 5 houses with Abzan, so it could be that you have two because you could have 2 combinations of enemy colors because you'd have green black and then white black and then maybe like 3 monocolor houses and then that way you'd have like the overall faction with like a couple sub factions for you to play with. But anyway, I'm getting off the topic. Just kind of meticulously document the plane's events and illuminated manuscripts, and continue to seek out the history lost to the Dragon Lords. In service of the ideals of the way, the Jeskai pursue a united Tarkir through structure and organization, considering the potential loss of a clan's autonomy and independence as a necessary cost of unity. Okay, so this is a very white. You already see like some white alignment coming through where they want to unite everyone. They want to create world peace. They have an emphasis on structure, peace through structure. And even if that comes at the cost of your freedom, so be it. You gotta do that sometimes. The blue is also pretty obvious. They have this idea for perfection, like they're trying to perfect their martial arts, basically. Like perfection through knowledge. You got to research the past. You got to research your manuscripts. You got to practice the official teachings, the doctrine, the forms, and then get your perfection there, and then use some of that perfection to help you with the organization and like unity of the world. I am also curious. It's also like the Jeskai definitely have like a more. I mean, all the clans are basically have like good and bad sides because Magic the Gathering is a game that thrives on conflict, so it needs to have like a reason why each faction would fight each other. Um, but this is definitely like a more ominous bent to the Jeskai because I don't remember seeing that much stuff that made me go like in the previous Tarkir sets where they're just like, ooh, the Jeskai are like, kind of like, oh, that's a little scary because they're kind of like wandering like monks and like martial artists, and I mean they weren't always wandering, but like all I remember them interacting with their tribes, like they like wander out and then like deal with bad guys or what they thought was injustice. But this one is definitely saying like, hey, look, they're not always in the right. It can be a little ominous sometimes having one of them come down to quote unquote help you out. Just kind of generally refer to begin with diplomatic solutions, but are stubborn in their perspectives, leading not infrequently to open fighting, where they leverage their tactical expertise and cunning to achieve victory. Um, I think the red here comes a bit through like the action. Like the idea is that So you're trying to treat the perfection of blue and the piece of white, piece and structure of white, and then you're doing that through the act. Red's like you gotta get freedom through action by just acting. And the action in this case would be the martial arts. So the idea is that like by by acting on your martial arts and in a certain way, you might gain like a certain level of freedom or clarity, clarity of mind. Um, and also they're also the willingness to not shy away from fighting could also be like more like a more emotional aspect of them, like they're just willing to fight you. Once again with the art, again I think it's like a Jeskai Ascendancy art because you have a bit of everyone. Once again we got the dragons in the background. The dragons way less detailed, so they're more like, so obviously with all the I don't know if it's Ascendancy art for sure, but this gives me an Ascendancy art vibes. So I don't think this is I don't think this is like a specific creature because these guys all feel like the main character here. Like you can see all their faces clearly. I think we got a new type of goblin there. I don't know if that's white mana or steam. If it's steam, it could reminds you like those monkeys that sit in like the hot like this hot springs. Oh, I don't know if those exist out Japan, but there's like monkeys with like white fur. But we got a new type of goblin. It's interesting seeing them outside of just Mardu, and this seems like interesting seeing them like some goblins like a martial arts vibe, or maybe I mean it could be something else, but I'm pretty sure it's a goblin because I don't know what else it would be. I think their outfits might be a little different. They've obviously the team has definitely taken the chance to make the like have a lot more like historical accuracies or mythological accuracies. I don't know how you want to phrase that. Historical and mythological accuracy, cultural accuracies. Um, this dragon's menacing. So obviously, I think we saw it up here with the Abzan Ascendancy too. I'm just gonna call it the Abzan Ascendancy, even if we don't know for sure. Yeah. So clearly, there's a theme running where like you see like the individual members, and then the dragons are in the background as sort of like an influence. Like they're not like the most detailed thing or the focus, but like the dragon's like a core part of the culture now. They're like an influence. So they're always there. Like the influence of dragons is always there, no matter where you are. Obviously there's like a red grass. There's like a lot of a steamy feel. I'm pretty sure there's probably cultural references I'm not getting. Like maybe it's a specific kind of bird I should know. It's pretty interesting. Revival of the Jeskai. Under Ojutai, those who dare question Dragon Lord's teaching were killed or at best exiled from the brood. Those who survived gathered in secret, trading truths of the history of the plane. But they remained a small and primarily intellectual resistance to the Dragon Lord. During the Phyrexian invasion, the scattered exiles flocked to Narset, the former protege of Ojutai, who took on the mantle of leadership and declared that they would defend Tarkir together. The one critique I would have about this set so far is I kind of wish we got to see more of them, like the rebels fighting the dragon. I understand why. I mean, don't get me wrong. This set's cool. I do like seeing like a different manifestation of the dragons, and it does feel like a soft retcon a bit, but I don't have that much of a problem with it because I don't really mind Magic using like, especially since they're not just like it's not just like a retcon in the sense they're just like, oh, it's just the way because we said it just because we said it was. They are giving in universe reasons as to why things are changing and why things are this way. Like for example, I think the change of the name from Kaladesh to Avishkar is actually makes a lot of sense in universe as like a way to like show like a change in like political, like because like the names of planes are actually very interesting, and who gets to decide the name of a plane. Like, do people always agree on the name of a plane? Like, I think explaining the changing name of a plane like that is actually a very interesting thought. So I do actually like how they handle that instead of just going like, oh, it's just Avishtar because it's always been Avishtar. It's just record. It's like, no, it used to be Kaladesh. There's a new person in charge, and they want to like create like a certain status, and just like in the real world, how you might change like your name, like the name of your empire, your country. They change their name, so I don't mind the retconniness because it is actually, I think it's handled fine in the universe, especially with all the Omen Path and stuff now. But I do wish we got to actually see more of the fight between the dragons and the fight between the brood and like the Khans. In my ideal world, this would be like a 2-set block where the first set is like you see more of the rebels, and the second set would be just like basically this set. But I understand why they don't do that. They're very like stingy about their blocks these days. They don't drop blocks unless they're very, very, very certain that the set like it will probably sell well. Like the last quote unquote block we had was Crimson Vow Midnight Hunt. So it takes a lot, and I know some people miss the block sets, but having every set be a block, in my ideal world, how it would work is most sets would probably just be like individual sets, and every once in a while, if you had like a major story event or something, maybe you'd have like a block or something. But and it probably wouldn't be like three sets, it'd probably be like 2. But anyway, the invasion weakened Ojutai's forces, allowing the secrets found in the hidden Jeskai archives to spread more easily amongst the brood. This shook the foundation of Dragon Lord's power and allowed the rebellion to gain more traction. So once again, more emphasis on knowledge. Yet Narset knew that no matter the strength of Tarkir's people, the Dragon Lords would not give up their power without bloodshed. The humanoids and dragons would be locked in the same constant warring of the past unless the storm could be quelled or turned against the Dragon Lords. And I guess it was turned against them. In her quest for a solution, she uncovered the ancient Storm Nexus ritual and was convinced to put it into action by the other rebellion leaders, leading to a final defeat of the Dragon Lords. I'm a bit curious about the Storm Nexus ritual right now. Like, where did it come from? Is this something that Ugin came up with, or because I also have to wonder, like, does somebody know about the time travel? Like, does somebody who either Sarkhan or Ugin or somebody else who knows about the time travel, like, did they have basically a backup in case like things got out of hand with the dragons? Like, hey, if Ugin stays alive, this shit might happen. So here's the Storm Nexus ritual. So was this like a thing for Ugin to use? I don't know. Jeskai monasteries and villages. The Jeskai are composed of monk practitioners of the Way and civilians who support the monasteries. Leadership of the clan falls to the Council of Stewards. The monk leaders of each of the three main Jeskai monasteries, with one of these three chosen as Waymaster. The Waymaster governs the rules that pertain to the entirety of the Jeskai, as well as their interaction with other clans, while the other stewards have responsibility for their monasteries and surrounding regions. Civilian leaders will advise the council and local religious leadership. They are largely autonomous in managing day-to-day needs of the community. That's pretty cool. Got a sword there. I don't remember the last time we saw a sword. Oh, I should probably actually look at the actual art. So obviously we have like we have this thing issue going on in the background where it's like it's probably a Dragonstorm going on in the background because you can see how ominous this side is, and then there's like light shining on this side, and there's dragons flying around. So probably coming to the defense of the city or was in the city and needs to fight their way out. I think they're highlighted by the fact that like this cloud is like they're kind of like facing kind of like the way of the light, sort of like the shadows behind them, and it's almost like they have like a connection to the light metaphorically by the light shining on them, and then they're also producing a blue light. Obviously, Magic loves color coding, so blue, white, red. That's the color alignment if you're paying attention. What else we got here? I mean, also like these also like obviously indicate the wind, so helps emphasize movement, or at least in this case, the movement of the wind, like blowing them. Like it's getting kind of windy. The Jeskai villages and civilians exist in mutual support network with the monasteries and monks. These communities provide the supplies and materials needed by the monks, and in exchange, the monks provide the teaching, medical services, protection, and spiritual guidance. So I guess this is what this probably is referencing. What was why they put the picture here? Is this person's providing like protection or magical services? Well-maintained roads and bridges connect the villages to their monasteries. A local village leader and council manager smaller affairs and coordinate with the monasteries. So this is the first time I've actually heard a lot about the Jeskai like civilians, quote unquote, because I don't remember if they really touched on that. I haven't like read the Planeswalker's Guide to Tarkir like in a minute, like really sat down. So they might have mentioned it, but this is the first time we're getting anything outside besides like the martial arts monks. Like I'm pretty sure if you just like looked at the old previous Jeskai cards, you would think it's just monks basically. Monks are those, but here they're clearly giving them a society, like an actual like, I guess for like the sake of like a faction. So monks are those who live primarily in one of the three monasteries and dedicate their lives to following the way, consisting of the following: leaving behind personal attachments. Most monks do not consider themselves part of their old families or beholden to them in any way, which enables them to focus entirely on their community. So you definitely have like a sort of like kind of Buddhist vibe where it's like let go of personal attachments. As far as color philosophy, that feels kind of like blue, like overcome your emotions and your biases so that you could make a more logical and knowledgeable decision. Don't be beholden to your emotions or personal attachments. Giving up on material possessions. They also adopt a more ascetic lifestyle, owning few, if any, personal items, instead sharing them communally within the monasteries. So that could also be blue once again, not letting the personal emotions cloud your judgment. But it could also be white because you're sharing them with your community. The idea is like we put the community first. We all own this stuff. It's not like the individual owns this. A monk's day includes meditation, physical martial arts training, scholarly pursuits, and magical practice. Interspersed with the religious training are many chores and duties around the monastery, such as rebuilding damaged walls from the last wild dragon attack. I'm sure that happens a lot. Cooking communal meals, preparing medicines, forging weapons, care for the clan dragons, etc. So this is stuff that we actually do see. We do see kind of in Magic, like red is often associated with like black, like smithing. Usually it's the idea of it being like a sort of like an art form, and art often has a very emotional connection to it. Also, it's hot and fire. So I'm not saying Magic is always subtle or original, but cooking communal wheels feels white, and then preparing medicines, I guess also white because you're helping out your community. Um, Higher ranked monks will also spend much of their time training younger monks. Within each monastery, monks commonly follow one of the two paths: warrior or scholar. Warrior monks specialize in the defense of the Jeskai, while scholar monks focus on strategy and research. So obviously, I think there's a red blue dichotomy. This is once again making me wonder if there's more of emphasis on enemy colors here, because the Jeskai are now enemy colors, where since they're red and blue, so it makes sense. You have the red aligned warriors who are more about action than blue. The blue aligned scholars who are more about thought, but again, still could be Azorius colors. And once again, there definitely seems to be a lot more emphasis on wind in these. Like, okay, I mean, I guess the Absent also had wind, but the Absent had a lot of sand. Like, it was sand blowing around. Here we have a lot of wind, but it's like clouds, and obviously blue clouds because you have the blue alignment and the eye. Once again, blue, white, red. We have a lot. We have a cloud motif, but also could be read as a water motif, like clouds and water. Which blue as a color has an association with both because of how they can. Because like you have the four classical elements, and then blue and not blue, water and air often connect to like higher concepts like the mind and like the soul. So blue tends to like is often represented by that in game, and you have like a splash some red. Um, Also we have like an interesting like sort of like I guess like shape here because like you have these like jutting up, and then you have the clouds kind of like meeting them, so it creates like an interesting like almost like a vortex or like a ripple effect. Like you have this guy in the middle, and then out is like a ripple effect, almost like this guy is somehow connected to this, or he's like an aspect of the world, or doing, or just like in some sort of harmony. And this person's like, holy shit, which I mean, fair enough, but like it's almost like this person like they didn't like they were talking or some shit, and then the like the wise like martial arts teacher showed up, and they were like, oh fuck, I didn't know you were there because they were like so quiet or something. Um, Skywaters have taken the traditions of the former Mantis Riders of the old Jeskai. The clan has begun to breed a new generation of Mantis mounts from the small numbers that were not devoured by the dragon brutes. The monks who ride them are especially trained in aerial combat, and are also the clan's main dragon riders and caretakers, raising and working along both varieties of flying creature. Okay, so they're called Skyriders because obviously they deal with not just mantises anymore. And I guess the mantis is a reference to like the like mantis martial arts. There's like a martial arts style named after like the mantis, like mantis style or something. So, and I guess it also ties maybe ties with their man. That's ominous. Maybe it ties in with their teaching somehow. Daily life. Civilians residing outside the larger villages primarily live agrarian lifestyles. Many of them being farmers, herders, fishers, and taking on other support roles. Within the villages, there is a wide range of highly respected craftspeople, and artisans, including shipwrights, blacksmiths, weavers, and masons. Um, So I guess it's a blacksmith. So like I said, red is usually given like a blacksmith angle in Magic. That's usually because the extension to both heat, but also like artsiness. Like you're putting your emotions into your art. This is a Djinn. I don't know if they changed that, but I wonder what this is. This is like a buckle maybe. Like, but anyway, so here this is a very simple like to explain. Like, so there's a bright ass fucking light. It hits this thing, and then this person is like bathed in the light, so they're the focus, and everything else behind them is sort of like mostly dark. It's very ominous looking for a Jeskai piece because usually I usually see when I see Jeskai, I think clouds and wind, but here we have like potentially a dark storm cloud, or maybe they're underground or something, or in a building or in a mountain, and then a lot of red, and this looks like obviously scorching hot, and these like long fingernails, um, like needle like precision, a lot of red and gold, like obviously color coordination, red, gold connection to white, and then also white itself. Um, Life for the civilians within the clan is still shaped by the ways, objectives, and principles. Those in the villages, however, are more concerned with the necessities of survival and are unable to devote their whole lives to the way. Meditation rituals are commonly practiced, and practitioners recite teachings or reflect on the ways in which their actions are coordinated with the rest of the Jeskai. Villages often have statues and shrines that serve as an emotional and spiritual waypoints. So red has a focus on emotion, and white on tends to have a focus on spiritualness because the idea of like purity of soul or like sin, etc., is often related to like spirituality. For people going about their day, the reason I bring that up is like soul and like sin is like the idea of basically morality. Like white believes that there is like an objective morality of some sort, and often something that people often use to justify that is the idea of like a spirit. But waypoints for people going about their day. People leave offerings at the shrines, like bundles of food, a robe, or new shoes, with the intention that another passerby, someone who needs them, may accept the gift. So once again, it's a little bit of like that like white like ideology, like sharing is caring basically. um Agriculture and trade. The Jeskai grow staple crops such as rice, wheat, lotus, and tea. They commonly trade raw materials such as stone, gems, and metals found in the mountain regions in exchange for resources and food they cannot easily procure within the territory. Arts and handcrafts. The Jeskai value the practice of the arts for its skill and discipline more so than its personal expression. Okay, that was funny because I was just talking about how like red is about like the reasons connected to arts is usually because the emotional expression. Um, but I mean, skill and discipline makes sense for like the blue side of it and the white side of it. Most of the practice arts also provide some sort of useful objective or outcome, including calligraphy, illuminated manuscripts, documenting the history of Tarkir, impressive stonework, and sculpture that complement the natural beauty of a location. Fine metalwork for weapons and clothing. So it says the emotional thing, but I don't know. Calligraphy feels like very artsy to me and like emotional. And back to what you said about complimenting the natural beauty. That brings me back to this piece where this guy, like I said, looks like a part of the landscape almost, or like in tune with it in some way because there's like ripples coming out from him, from like in the background with the way he's like. It's almost like he's like posed himself with it. Um, Athletics and sports. Rigorous training for body and mind begins at an early age and is continued throughout a person's life. And for the Jeskai, even recreational serves a bigger goals. Ordsubal. Ordsubal is a popular game in both village and squares and monastery courtyards that rewards dexterity, precision, and intellect. The game is played in small teams, similar to soccer or kuju. I don't know what kuju is. We'll check what that is. Where players kick a hard leather ball into elevated open nets, aiming to score more points than the opposing team. So it's kind of like soccer, except you the goal is like a suspended in the air. It's not just you're not just kicking it into like a goal on the ground. The writings of Shu Yun were founded with a hidden archive of the old Jeskai that was spared a Jutai's purge. In them, he describes a mantra to achieve peace, achieve unity. Very white philosophy, which has since become the guiding principle of the newly formed Jeskai. I'm surprised they're still running with that, but I mean, I thought they would have like just like said fuck the dragon and everything, but I guess they're choosing to pick in a little bit. Followers of the way strive toward unity of mind and shared understanding, seeking the world mind that acts, thinks, and feels in unity to end suffering and strife. In doing so, Jeskai hope to bring about a truly peaceful Tarkir. So very white aligned. Three principles serve as a method for achieving unity in mind. Cooperative action. So once again, I was talking about how red is emphasis on action. So coordinated efforts leads to the best outcomes. Undivided thought. You must understand each other to work together. Aligned heart. You must share ideals and goals to work toward an outcome. So I guess this would be like white blue. This would be like red white, and then aligned heart would probably be like red white. It's like the emphasis on like being in tune with the emotions of others. While the clan is unified in its overarching objective, it is divided in its methodologies. Each of the three monasteries focuses on a different principle to achieve unity of mind. Most often train in multiple monasteries over their lifetime to ensure that the breadth of Jeskai philosophy can be shared across the clan. So, once again, there's also like obviously a lot of focus on with Jeskai like in being in the air and being suspended. Like they're either on top. A lot of the time they're either on top of something or they're like balance. Because all emphasis to show like how basically like how much finesse they have by showing them like they're always like balanced on something. Like with the we didn't really see that the Abzan. Like the Abzan was always they're always on like just like the ground, you know. Unless you're a spirit, then you're flying around. But like look at this person, they're just kind of walking normally. But the Jeskai are always like they're always precariously perched on something like that would otherwise you'd probably fall like a normal person would just fall off. Except this person's like the exception because they're probably just like a normal civilian. So here once again we have people moving up like a net. Although I'm kind of curious, are they moving? Are we as the camera like up and they're coming towards us, or is it like kind of like parallel to the ground and they're coming towards? Either way, once again, emphasis on like sort of like balance and like finesse and restraint. We got some blue, white, red again. These sails kind of act as like a weird sort of frame, like it brings attention. Like there's like a sort of like swirling motion almost. Like you see the clouds here have almost like a stair motion which goes into the sails and the sail spinner. Are they like in the air or something? Is something like breaking? But anyway, stairs have like they might be in a Dragonstorm or something. But obviously, so there's like actually like a sort of like subtle swirling motion here. It starts here, it goes into here, and then transitions into the sails, and it goes around here. And once again, we have that focus on like kind of like moving with, kind of being with the environment in a way that like others are not, because censored in like because this person's like censored in the swirl. I wonder if this is like a specific creature, or like because once again, this gives me the vibe of like ascendancy card. It could be like a specific creature, but this could be the vibe of like like either a group of monks or ascendancy card because again, it kind of feel they all kind of have main character energy. So it's probably a card with like multiple. I don't know. They all got main character energy though, and I could totally see a card where it's like you know, um, super palm or something, and then like it's the idea is that these are like the main focus because they're like glowing. Um, oh, once again, like I said with the environment, it's almost as if this like hand here is like what's shattering this in a way because the way it's framed. Because it's like I said, the swirl, and then this is here, so that's very interesting. Um, and then once again, they love like they love like conveying movement and wind with their like long clothes, long flowy clothes. Quarry Mountain Monastery. The aligned monastery emphasizes the principle of cooperative action, believing that unity of mind is developed through unity of body. If the act is in coordination, they will achieve the shared understanding of thoughts and ideals. The monks in this monastery are often more isolationist and traditionalists, engaging in complex and involved routines, meditation, and multiple martial arts, dedicating their whole lives to building a unified community. Durgar Lake Monastery, the blue aligned. Oh, I was gonna just talk about how this would seem red aligned to me. They just say it's red aligned. So here we can probably just check what the intention is here. So it seems like the action part, like I said, the action parts, the martial arts aspects, those are all like red with a focus on action. Emphasis on the bottom, bottom body. Sorry, my timer just went off because I should probably go to sleep. But here we have so the red aspect comes in with the emphasis on the body. Because so the emphasis on the body comes from is like red's all about doing like how do you know what you want, like what do you feel like doing basically. So like basically understand like learning to understand your body. Like if you're hungry, then you should eat. That's like red's basically what red's saying. If you're hungry, you should eat. If you're mad, you should just be mad. You shouldn't try to fight it. If you're happy, if you feel like laughing, laugh. This is sort of reflected as like learning to understand your body, working with your body. Um, Focus on like um the emotions and action. So I think cooperative action definitely gives me like the vibe of like a white red thing going on though, like sort of like White's idea of like a group with Red's emotion, and then Red can be very group focused with the idea of like like being emotionally connected to other people, but like in a way it's like more personal than White is. White's kind of like a Superman, like you should help people like a civilian because they're a civilian and everyone's life is equal, and Red's like I'm gonna save my family and friends, and I don't necessarily want to save every civilian. But Durgar Lake Monastery. So obviously, also mountain, red alignment, earth, lake, water, blue. The Blue Line Monastery expresses the principle of undivided thought, believing that unity of mind comes through directing and instructing people in the best ways of thinking. We cultivate understanding through direct teaching and philosophical instruction. Monks here are experts in manipulation, politicking, and persuasion, using their knowledge of magic to shape systems and people to support their goals. So obviously, very blue, focus on thought, knowledge, perfection through knowledge. We also have like blue. So blue believes that everyone's basically a blank slate. That like people have the potential to become almost anything with the right amount of time and effort and technology. So we can see this here where like they're about like shaping the system and the world around them, not just themselves. Like they're like I can control the world around me, which is a very blue thing to do. Storm Crane Mastery. Um, so obviously cranes are white, but also like there's an emphasis on flight. White has a lot of flyers. The White Man and Aligned Monster emphasizes the principle of aligned heart, believing that unity of mind comes through working together to help others. Those that are struggling to survive can focus on little else. So with the monks' help, they gain the time and resources to focus on the bigger goals of unity of mind and shared understanding. As this floating monastery travels across the plane, the monks go where they feel they are needed most, providing protection while it's floating, from threats and offering food or spiritual guidance. So obviously very white. You fly around, you help people, you try to make the world a better place. Put others first. I mean, it's pretty simple. Obviously emphasis on air as an element. Death and the afterlife. Unlike many other clans, the Jeskai reject Ojutai's teachings of draconic reincarnation. Did the other clans? I guess they believe it. Um, so they still believe that you get reincarnated as a dragon. Because I think previously the dragons took over, the idea was that if you served like a good life, even if you're treated like shit in that life, you might have a chance of being reincarnated as a dragon in the next life. We still don't know if that's true. That's kind of just like up into interpretation whether you believe that or not in the context of Tarkir. Um, I mean, if it does work, then I don't think the dragons seem to have any memory of being a person. I would lean towards you probably aren't reincarnated as a dragon, but I mean, who knows? It's magic. Instead, they focus on the present and their obligations to the living. This can often result in conflict with other clans, as the Jeskai look down their beliefs and practices around death and the afterlife. So I think it's setting up a conflict between like the white and black aspects of some of the, especially like the Sultai, where obviously on this plane, white has a strong connection to wanting to focus on life and help people, and then black has a connection to like being willing to use the death and after being willing to use death and the afterlife as a resource or a way to grab power. They do, however, review the actions of people who came before them, paying particular attention to the knowledge they left behind. So that feels like kind of blue. Like um, celebrations and ceremonies, also like white does have an emphasis on tradition too. Celebrations and ceremonies. Most villagers visit the monasteries for important celebrations, and the more devout may attend regular ceremonies led by monks. Athenaeum Athenaeum Festival. I'm just gonna give up. Honoring the legacy of Shu Yun and his devotion to keeping Tarkir's history. This is a day for scholars to examine writings in the archives and for monks and others to recount Tarkir history to audiences in the villages. So I guess in contrast to the dragons who used to hide the information in the archives, the idea is that they're more open about it. Like they want to help everyone. They're not like as like insular as before. Although I'm curious, is Shu Yun like a card we've gotten before? Oh shit! It's this guy. Wait, wasn't he like a Sultai mage? No, he might have been a different guy. I thought there was one guy who was like a Sultai mage in one timeline, but oh fuck. There he gets speech. Okay, well it's good to know people remember him. Um Feast of Union. At the end of the growing season, the monks leave the monasteries to help the villagers harvest and pack up food stuff for the winter storage. Oh, that's nice. Then the monks and villagers carry a portion of the harvest up to the monasteries. A modest but well attended feast takes place in the monastery to celebrate the unified community. Um, Jeskai magic centers around the manipulation of the body and mind. So body's probably red, and blue is probably the mind. Using it for physical augmentation to aid fighting, mental illusions, and healing magic. So that's a very interesting take on it. Like, basically, the idea is that they're grouping together all these forms of magic that would otherwise seem very disparate and like separate, as like they're basically forms of like bodily augmentation. So to aid in fighting, like you might boost your strength, mental illusions. Obviously, like that's blue's influence, and then healing magic is probably white because white's often associated with healing magic and wanting to help others. So you can heal yourself for others, and then obviously the red's the fighting part because sometimes you just need to kick the shit out of someone when you're mad. Very few civilians are magic wielders, while most monks are proficient in some form of magic. As with different approaches to the way, each monastery teaches different forms and styles of magic. So yeah, I can imagine. Um, this is an interesting piece because this could be like a specific care creature, but the emphasis could also be maybe on like the arms. So I could see it be like an enchantment. I think it's the person though. I could totally see it being. This is a Chris card. It has double strike. Obviously color coded, so red and orange, like red and orange. It's almost like fire. Red has a correlation with fire because like fire has a correlation with like emotion, like heat. Like that makes my blood boil. And you actually see like a hand behind here. So there's four hands, one, two, three, and then this hand's like in sync with this hand. So it was kind of interesting. So this hand's in sync with this hand. It's almost like these are both like guiding the other hands, and then these hands are like ready to attack, and then this is like an open palm. Um, Obviously, there's like a fiery aura, which is like a common trope, but also like connects to red. Also, like I said, blue, white, red. Um, Stairs acting like sort of like a frame. Once again, we have a bit of like a cloud thing going on. Like it's a little bit foggy up here. Still have like the Jeskai colors. Not much going on in the background here because the main focus is this person. The Jeskai relationship to dragons and Dragonstorms. Dragon hunts. When hunting dragons, the Jeskai tend to focus on the Dragonstorms closer to their monasteries in the northern territories of Tarkir. Though their emissaries and other clans will sometimes bring back information about storms in other regions. Between their mounted monks and flying monastery, the Jeskai are well prepared to capture dragons just as they emerge from the storm, rather than waiting for them to come closer to land. This allows them to remain competitive even when other clans approach the same storm. It's gonna be like the vibes sort of like blue in the sense like it's got counterspell vibes. Like why did like instead of just like waiting and trying to like reacting, like we can try to predict what's gonna happen next, and then try to act before like that thing happens. So instead of like waiting for the dragon to pop out and then trying to kill the dragons, like wait, we know the dragon's gonna come out. Let's try to figure out where it comes out and then just jump it like the moment it comes out. Um, Clan dragons. Jeskai monks almost exclusively teach and care for the clan dragons, which reside within the monasteries. The Jeskai prize dragons with intelligence, perception, and calm demeanors, following the rules of communal unity over individualism. These dragons work alongside groups of monks during rituals, ceremonies, training, and conflicts. Jeskai dragons wield ice. Okay, so I mean, blue and white have kind of connection to ice, with the idea that like for blue, it's like kind of like an opposition to red, where like heat represents like emotion, like oh, that makes my blood boil. Blue, like cold is often used like as a metaphor for like less emotion. So it's like blue's like I want to like focus like be more like rational and like less guided by emotions. So it often has like a little bit of ice or a cold theme. And then white just because it likes to tap shit down. Also, I guess that's allies of blue. I guess it also has a bit of that theme because it's all about because also a bit for the same reason that blue would have it for red. It's just like you don't like you should put others first. Don't just follow your emotions wildly. Um, blasting enemies with super chilled streams that freeze opponents in an instant. Um, yeah, I mean, intelligence perception comes to me is definitely like what something that a blue mage would probably want. Interesting that they have like feathers. I mean, obviously red, white, blue, but feathers. Once again, like a wind. Um, our attention is drawn to like the main dragon because there's like this giant thing behind it. There's like petals. Um, Dragonstorms. Jeskai monasteries have large bells to warn locals of oncoming dragonstorms. The Jeskai have also become more mobile to react to the dragonstorms, using the flying storm crane monastery and dragon riders to quickly move between villages. The terrain has also changed. The Jeskai have built cities interlaced with bridges to maintain the higher water levels and warmer temperatures that have altered the composition of many plants in the northern region. So, like, I guess the climate has changed. Most of the Jeskai territories, just territory. Is air pass the Omen path? Did you like? Could a plane get like global warming from the pollution of another plane? I'm sorry, I'm getting because we it is confirmed that gasoline does exist in the multiverse because there's the end writers. So I mean, anyway, most of the Jeskai territory is in the eastern Sun mountain range with tall volcanic peaks and lowland plains with large lakes. So I mean, obviously, volcanoes are usually associated with red, and then plains with white. The climate is cool much of the year, but snow melt in the spring fuels a large river that provides much of the transportation and food for the Jeskai. So like that's like a metaphorical representation for blue, like the ice in the water. Jeskai territory directly borders Mardu and Timor lands. Um, Hold on, is there like a pattern to that? Is it like is it like kind of like because it's Wooburg obviously, but it's like is there gonna be like a pattern where it's like each one is connected to like two other ones on either side? Or I didn't check what Abzan's border, but I guess Abzan's travel around, so maybe not. Um, I guess it's also something to fight narratively because Mardu and Timors are more prone to fighting. Um, Once again, I mean, I noticed the Jeskai, they really like this kind of like almost like spiral or like ripple or like circle thing going on because we have this almost like a circle and then red and then white, interesting sail shape, blue. Obviously, this is some sort of vehicle. Um, Probably it could be a land based on how big it is, but I assume it's a vehicle. Probably a vehicle because it's like what they're like coded. Um, okay, once again, a big emphasis on clouds and like oh yeah, this one's interesting because like unlike the other risk guy we were saying, this person's not like perched on like something like precarious. This one's like on the ground. It's more, but they still have like obviously like a sturdy stance. Like they have like a sense of balance. Like, they're not just like walking. Um, and this ship, I mean, I don't really have much to say about it. It's a ship. It's a really cool looking ship. It's got like trees and stuff on it though. Um, Quarry Mountain Monastery, remote and difficult to access mountain monastery built in the flooded caldera of a volcano. It's surrounded by the vibrant red floor due to the abundance of volcanic minerals. So I guess that's what the red flowers you've been seeing is. It's from that. Um, Not here. There was I think it was like up here. Yeah, so I guess that's what like all this stuff is. Um, I feel like that's probably like that sounds red blue because I'm just gonna like keep it very simple. Like I could try to give you a philosophical reason, but sometimes magic is very simple. It sounds red blue because it's water and volcano and water and heat, and that's how magic steam vents magic likes to represent. Is it with like what like water and heat? Durgu Lake Monastery, a large and imposing monastery built located on a floating island with bridges connecting it to a large fishing village along the shallow waters and shores of the lake. Durga Monastery is the closest Jeskai location to the Salt Road and is often visited by other clans, diplomats, and merchants. So probably white and blue. That sounds well. I mean, if we're going based on what I said earlier, how many other six? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it's different from how many there were in the Abzan, so I gotta think about that. Because it might be enough to have whatever. This might be enough to have like each color combination inside the whatever. Built from the remains of this old sage ice sanctuary that was destroyed in the Phyrexian invasion of the storm. I think we actually do have like that on the card. Hold on. Art, Jeskai, art for Phyrexia. Would be Phyrexia or Phyrexian? I'm misplaying it wrong. I should know. I should know. I should know what the card's name is. I love using that card in Arena because it gives like all your shit. Like it makes prowess tokens. One. It's 3 mana. It's 3 mana value is equal to 3. Yeah, it's monetary. Hold on. Let's just hold on. Hold on. Wait. Want to set mom art. Tarkir. Yeah, I mean, here we have this. I swear we saw the monastery. Maybe this is it. The Fine Thunder Maw. Obviously, the influence of the Phyrexians here, though. Oculus Whelp. Yeah, here we have Zergon and Ojutei. I'm so curious about this thing is really fun because I feel like this it's kind of unbelievable in a way because I don't know why they'd be in the same area and why the dragon would let him ride him, but Riverwheel Village, a small sanctuary built into the face of a cliff. The citizens have been slowly rebuilding the former Ojutei sanctuary, renovating the large water wheel at the center. And now, at its center, now that the ice entrapping the region has begun to melt. So sounds like a blue area. High Spear Monastery, a small mountaintop monastery where the giant mantises and their caretakers reside. Most monks at High Spire practice a mixture of teaching from the 3 main monasteries. I don't think there's gonna be mounts in this set. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but also be weird because I don't. There might not be like enough stuff to actually support mounts as like an archetype. So, quite at the Fire Rim, a region on the northern border of Jeskai territory, an inaccessible mountain range known for its volcanic activity. So, red reference. Pearl Lake, a large glistening lake nestled in the mountaintops near a remote Jeskai monastery. Many monks will journey there to meditate in the serene landscape. So probably blue, which I guess that makes this probably white. In some way. Check out part 2. A Planeswalker's Guide to Tarkir Dragonstorm to learn all about the newly revived. Yeah, so we're gonna cover the other clans in the next part. Let's just like get a good look here. Oh, we got some interesting shit happening here. They look less evil. I mean, the Sultai. I remember the Sultai looking like almost like cartoonish villain evil. These guys look like, I mean, they start menacing, I suppose, but like if you saw them like on the street, you'd be like, they look like someone you could talk to. Like the old Sultai, like they look like most of them are zombies, like half dead. Like if you look at people, you do not want to fuck with. Like, but wow, that's somebody's. That's definitely that's gonna be somebody's Yume ship, definitely. So I'm getting distracted. I do love looking at the Magic the Gathering art. So I'm gonna stop for now. That was part 2. Next time I'm gonna look at the Sultai, and I'm not gonna go through the entire article. Next time I'm just gonna go through faction by faction. Besides, like the last 3, I think all in the same article anyway. But let's go through faction by faction and look at the art and stuff. So I'll see you guys later.